Have you ever wondered why you wake up right before your alarm clock goes off? The reason is because of the hormone cortisol. Now, most people have heard of cortisol, and most people hear about it as a stress hormone. But cortisol is involved in a lot more than just stress. In fact, cortisol is generally involved in deploying blood glucose or blood sugar into circulation so that your brain and body have energy to deal with, yes, stressors, but all sorts of things in life. And everyone has what's called a 24-hour endogenously generated rhythm in cortisol. Endogenously generated rhythm simply means that it occurs irrespective of stress, irrespective of whether you use an alarm clock. It just is going to go up at certain points of the 24-hour cycle and down. Now, stressors or alarm clocks, as it turns out, will introduce little peaks in cortisol on top of that natural endogenous rhythm. So here's the deal. For most people who are asleep at night and awake during the day, so that's most people, your cortisol is going to be lowest somewhere around midnight, plus or minus 2 hours, depending on when you went to sleep and when you wake up. But it's going to be very low around midnight, let's say, and then it's going to rise gradually according to that endogenously generated rhythm over the subsequent 6 to 8 hours. And then at some point, it's going to hit a threshold level and you're going to wake up. Now, if you use an alarm clock, let's say you set your alarm clock for 7 a.m. and you do that for 3 or 4 days in a row, well, every time that alarm goes off, you're going to get an additional increase in cortisol when the alarm goes off. You're probably familiar with that feeling. However, after about 4 days, your suprachiasmatic nucleus, this little cluster of neurons over the roof of your mouth, it entrains or it learns to expect that little spike in cortisol. And guess what? It starts to generate that spike in cortisol before the alarm clock goes off. Similar types of entrainment have been observed with things like anticipatory hormones for eating, getting hungry a few minutes before a meal, not just because you smell it, not just because psychologically you anticipate it, but because of entrainment of the release of those hormones and peptides that make you hungry. So the SCN, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, is an incredible structure that acts like an orchestra conductor, generating internal endogenously generated rhythms, but also anticipating life events so that your body's ready for them. So when somebody asks you, why is it that we wake up right before the alarm clock? You tell them it's because of a burst in cortisol and your brain knew that unconsciously. Have any questions? Put them in the comment section below this post. Thank you for your interest in science.